This is the story of Air Transat Flight 236. On August 24, 2001, an Airbus A330 was flying from Montreal to Lisbon. The plane was about an hour into its flight when the pilots smelled burning. They immediately checked the engine's temperature, which was well within normal limits. So they decided to continue on to Lisbon. However, 5 minutes after takeoff, the smell was still there. And this time, the temperature was also abnormal. The pilots knew they had a problem and quickly shut down the engine. As the plane lost altitude, the pilots knew that their best option was to land at the nearest airport, which was in the Azores. However, they had a big problem. The Airbus A330 has never been tested in a single-engine glide to that altitude. In other words, they were about to attempt something that had never been done before. The pilots knew that if they were going to make it, they needed to do it perfectly. With the massive fuel leak, the Airbus A330 slowly started to lose altitude. The pilots put the plane into a slight descent and somehow managed to keep the massive plane in the air for another 19 minutes. During the silent glide, the passengers had no idea what was going on. They watched in horror as the cabin lights flickered and the oxygen masks dropped down. Thankfully, the pilots managed to stabilize the plane and keep it in the air. After 19 minutes, the pilots lined up the Airbus with the runway and made a perfect landing on the small military airbase. All 306 people on board survived. In the aftermath, the pilots were hailed as heroes. They had just landed one of the largest planes in the world with zero fuel, making it one of the longest engine outglides in aviation history. But the pilots were humble. They knew that they didn't do anything special. They simply followed the checklist and did everything by the book. But here's the thing. The reason why this plane stayed in the air for 19 minutes was because of the Airbus. So what would you have done in this situation? Let me know in the comments below.